Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and we've got the unique opportunity this week to be driving multiple different versions of the new Toyota Tacoma and Toyota Land Cruiser. So this video is going to be a little bit of a TRD Pro versus Trailhunter on-trail impressions video. We've already spent a little bit more time in the TRD Pro. We took it for a nice road trip and got some on-road and off-road and long-term driving impressions there. And we've had just a little bit of experience with the Trailhunter in some kind of prescribed off-road course sort of setting. But this is a very real-world example of how a lot of people are going to use their trucks. We're out running some really cool trails here for Destination Outdoors outside of Denver, Colorado. So running some great trails, real deal off-roading here with both trucks. So let's hop out, take a quick look at this Terra-colored TRD Pro Tacoma, and then I'll be kind of dropping footage a little bit randomly between this and the Trailhunter that we drove, because there's a lot going on this weekend. We've been driving a whole lot of different vehicles and kind of swapping with people at random, so I haven't really been able to put together a super cohesive set of videos between the two trucks directly comparing. But a lot of cool impressions, a lot of cool driving situations, and I wanted you all to get to see them. Not only that, these two colors, this and then the color of the Trailhunter that we're going to see here in a minute, are two of my favorite truck colors. So you can see we got this one plenty dirty, plenty well used. So let's hop to some footage of taking both of these off-road and kind of comparing the benefits of each offering. If you watch the channel regularly, you know I don't do a lot of sponsored content, and that's because I don't like promoting products that I can't actually use and genuinely integrate into my life. So when BioLite reached out to me and asked if I wanted to cover their new Charge 100 Max battery pack, I was happy to do so because this actually works well with my day-to-day life and workflow. And they didn't even ask me for a specific review. They just asked if I'd like to check out the product, and I figured, hey, if it's something that I can genuinely endorse, then I'll make mention of it. We get to go on a lot of these cool trips like this one you're seeing right now, and I need to stay powered up for all my cameras, my laptop, and my phone. On top of that, headphones, all sorts of different devices. So this charge pack packs 91 watt hours of energy, which is just below what the FAA allows you to take on a plane, and it means I can more than charge up my entire laptop, plus my phone, plus my watch and my headphones and my camera gear, and it's got 3 different USB-C ports, 1 USB-A, all the way up to 120 watts of maximum output, 100 watts from a single power port, which means I can still edit even if one of the airplane seats that I'm in has a broken power port or doesn't have one. That's very important to me. And on top of all of that, it's got a wireless charger. So if I turn it on, slap my phone on right here in the hotel room or something like that, then it starts charging right up. I find that pretty nifty. Now, it's not the perfect product. Some of the ones without wireless charging are going to be a little bit more compact, and I do wish I could get a little bit more nerdy information on the charge screen here. I've got other battery packs that tell me the charge rate in or out, and it tells me more of a specific percentage of charge remaining. But this is not some random Chinese knockoff product. It's something you can pick up from their website or Amazon or even REI. So it's durable, it's usable, and it's convenient. And if you want to pick one up for yourself, check the link below. Shout out to BioLite. We are out here in the beautiful mountains outside of Denver, Colorado. We've done some camping, and we've got an exciting few days planned with not only this Trailhunter, but we've also got a TRD off-road, we've got a few Land Cruisers, and we've got a TRD Pro in one of my favorite colors. I mean, look at this. This is pretty darn cool. I like this one quite a bit. If you do want to see coverage on the Land Cruisers, check the link below. We drove out in one of the more basic ones here, that 1958 down there. But today's off-roading is going to start off in the Trailhunter model. For those of you who are not super aware, I'm sure most people probably are at this point, but Toyota has 2 flagship models of the Tacoma for 2024. There's the higher speed oriented TRD off-road. You've got a little bit more aggressive shocks, and you've got more of kind of a desert running sort of setup. And then this is more suited for what we're doing out here, and I guess the paint color kind of fits that. And what I like about the Trailhunter is that you can get the 6-foot bed. Now, we're not seeing it here, this is just a 5-foot bed, but you can get a 6-foot bed on the Trailhunter model, something you cannot get with the TRD Pro. It comes with these, what do you want to call it? It's kind of accessory bars here in the back of the bed, which you can use for putting on some recovery gear or whatever you might want, or theoretically you could take them off if you're not a big fan of the look. And also better than the TRD Pro, you get some degree of usable rear seat room. And not only is there a little bit extra room, but because we don't have the isometric seats of the TRD Pro, you can put your legs a little bit further into the seat, not be hurting your knees. So I'm really looking forward to getting behind the wheel and experiencing the Trailhunter in some trails that are going to be a legitimate challenge for it. I mean, we're gonna have to utilize the four-wheel drive. We're gonna have to utilize some of the off-road tricks that Toyota has up their sleeve with the new Tacoma, and hopefully not utilize these tow hooks. But I'm excited. So let's get to it. All right, we are out here starting out on the highway. I am in the passenger seat. We've got Matt from KBB behind the wheel and doing a little bit of highway impressions while climbing some elevation. And a lot of people want to know, driving in the Trailhunter here, how much do you hear that turbo noise coming out of the snorkel? And if I'm quiet for a moment, what it kind of sounds like is you keep thinking your window's just open a little bit. I keep wanting to see, like, all right, is it just a little bit open? No, it's closed. It's just there. And I would have to spend time day to day with the Trailhunter in real world driving situations to see if it became irksome. But I will say, in this situation where we're gaining elevation and we're on the throttle a lot, I'm noticing it. I'm hearing the constant, okay, you're losing boost and then you're building it back up. And in some ways it's cool. But in other ways I could kind of see, especially if my wife were sitting in the passenger seat and we're trying to have a conversation, I could see how that would get a little old for her. Other than that, we haven't done any real hardcore off-roading yet. The ride is a little bit firmer in here than in the Land Cruiser that we took on the same trail last night. And we're gonna have more back-to-back opportunities throughout today, but I do know from spending time in the TRD Pro and doing off-roading that this is definitely softer than that. One thing also that has really stuck out to me after getting out of the Land Cruiser yesterday is how much more functional this driver and passenger front cabin area is. We have storage here, along with the wireless device charger, cup holders here, a good amount of, well, it doesn't go super deep in this one, but a good amount of center console area, a little bit of cup holder area back here, and a 2-stage door setup here where I've got water bottle down here and then some napkin action going right there, and then obviously your glove box can put a little more stuff. When we were in the Land Cruiser, you essentially got cup holder, and door pockets, and maybe a little bit of space up here that wasn't padded so your things were sliding around. So I am a pretty big fan of the general layout of the front seat area in the Tacoma. I think they thought it out really well. While it is a bit visually busy, it is quite functional, and I've appreciated having some places to put things and a decent amount of comfort. So I'll get back at you here when I'm behind the wheel and we're doing some off-roading. We have been on the trail for about 20-30 minutes here, and the Trailhunter is performing exactly how I'd expect it to. The ride is a little bit firmer than I expected. However, we have aired down. That's made a good difference. And what I like is that the shock progression is dialed in nicely so that, yeah, it might seem a little bit stiff on some of the smaller bumps, but once we hit the big whoopers, we're not being jostled around the cabin too dramatically. So you can see how rocking in 4 low like this, driving slow, climbing up some of these rocky selections, it's been fairly comfortable in here and we're not getting jostled around too badly. Really liking the powertrain also. Yes, this is the hybrid version, but even without the hybrid, even the TRD off-road that we've had a chance to drive around a bit off-road as well, the low-end torque is such a huge step up from the previous naturally aspirated 3.5 liter. I've really appreciated it for this sort of application. I mean, we're going to see getting up this steep section, even in 4 low, we're running about 1500 RPM. I'm going to lean into it. And we don't have to have a downshift there in order to get us up and over that. And when you're spending all day on the trail, having that quieter interior, being able to talk to your passengers, have some music going, having a nice, calm experience, that goes a long way. Real tight, twisty corner. Obviously, having the shorter bed is an advantage there. A little bit of binding. We see with this camera system right here, truck in front of us went right over this rock. I'm going to try to bridge it in the middle, and there we go. I think that was the way to do that. We're using multi-terrain select right now in rock mode, and that calibrates the four-wheel drive system to kind of anticipate the slipperiness, the kind of on traction, off traction that big rocks like this bring. But we were doing fine in auto mode as well. And a lot of these kind of aids are not really that useful until they are. We were driving yesterday with Chloe Kuo from her YouTube channel, Chloe Kuo, and she owns a newer Tacoma TRD off-road, and she said that she spent the extra money for the sway bar disconnect and the multi-terrain select and everything because there's been one or two instances in her ownership experience where she's utilized those, and she said just those one or two experiences is enough for her to pay the extra money to have those. And I kind of understand. Off-roading is an interesting sport in that, yeah, 98% of the time, you're going to be totally fine with just a good set of tires and a standard four-wheel drive system. But those 2% could leave you stranded out in the wilderness. So being able to simply press a few buttons and change into a few modes and then confidently off-road and get yourself out of sticky situations, that can be worth a few $1,000s here and there. What's the passenger seat been like, Matt?
You know, aside from our whistling friend here with the air intake, not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Good.
Keep your head leaned against the headrest, though. I will tell you that. Otherwise, you're going to feel like a bobblehead doll on a crazy terrain like this.
Pro tip right there. One annoyance has been the parking sensors stay on, even though we're in four-wheel drive low, we've got multi-terrain select on and everything, and that's not being an issue here in this open section, but I'll try to do a little filming when we're back into the trees, which actually, come to think of it, we might be above the tree line for a while, so might not really be an issue, but there is some way to disable it within the screen, but we were having trouble doing so, especially while we're out here on the trail without coming to a stop and disrupting our caravan here. I haven't wanted to try to figure that out. So kind of strange that Toyota doesn't disable that when we're in this sort of driving situation, but all things considered, the Trailhunter doing an excellent job, and we will report back to you here later on in the drive. One of the best party pieces of the Trailhunter is a built-in compressor. So we just got done with our off-roading here, and then it's got a cable that goes all the way around the truck, fits all the way around, and you can see it stretches around there. Chloe's gonna hook it up.
Right, if I can find the valve. Oh, here. It was covered in mud, so I couldn't really see it. Muchas gracias.
Yep.
There.
And then, as that gets hooked up, the truck, which is set at 32 PSI, kicks on. Tells you what we're getting at the moment. And then fills it right up. That's pretty clever when you consider the other trucks are having to use, you know, things like this where you take battery panels off and hook them in and everyone's running those around. The Trailhunter is self-sufficient. So this is a cool opportunity. Yesterday we got some good off-roading time and a little bit of on-roading time in the Trailhunter, but now we're going back to back and driving the TRD Pro. I've got Jeff from Universe with me in the passenger seat, and we're gonna go out and do a little bit more of an intense day of rock crawling and off-roading and what the boys call wheeling today here in this truck. I don't know what I'm gonna be driving later, but either way, I'm really curious to get back on the trail with this one and see how the shock package is different, how the truck feels different compared to that more overlanding spec of the Trailhunter. Now, there's been a little debate back and forth about which shock package would be better for this, that, and the other. The way I understand it is that if you're going to be doing more high-speed, desert running, performance sort of driving, you want this. If you're going to be doing more slower speed, cruising, softer ride sort of deal, you get the Trailhunter. But it'll be cool to kind of see that here in the real world. Now, a few of the practical differences I've noticed right off the bat is we've got a more pronounced exhaust note in this truck. You'll hear that. But there's definitely some sort of artificial noise coming through, and I can't say I enjoy it much. That being said, we don't have the whistle coming out of the snorkel that we did in the Trailhunter, which I didn't really mind from the driver's seat, but in the passenger seat of the Trailhunter, you feel like there's a window open over there. It's definitely singing the song of its people. So on-road, practical, I've noticed that. Also, I don't know if it'll come through on the camera, but the fake hood scoop there in the front is wiggling and vibrating up and down on this TRD Pro model, and I'm curious, once we get on trail, if that extra bit of blocked visibility is going to be a bit frustrating compared to the Trailhunter. Other than that,
Spoiler alert, I drove yesterday. It is.
other than that, it's pretty straightforward inside. It's the same nice layout that we've had before. Oh, and then of course there is the elephant in the back of the truck, the isometric seats that take up nearly all of the space. I've got a little photo set right here I'll show you of the Trailhunter back seats compared to the TRD Pro back seats. And if you've watched our previous video on the TRD Pro, we had 3 people in this truck for a whole day of on-road and off-road driving, and the passenger in the front had to sit further up to the point where Jeff's knees would probably be hitting the glove box just to allow my 5'2" stepmother to fit in the back seat comfortably. So certainly a trade-off. I suspect Toyota will make that optional for 2025, but we'll see what happens. And I am curious to see if the isometric seats will make it so our heads bobble a little bit less on trail today. So let's get to the trail. So we haven't hit anything too intense yet, but I do have to say, I am impressed with the ride quality here on the TRD Pro. Now that we're a little aired down, doing this a little bit more properly, it is taking it pretty well. And admittedly, I haven't had a chance to get out and check to see what our shocks are set at. I would think that Toyota, knowing what we're doing here, would have it at least at medium, if not low, for kind of a softer, slower ride quality here. But we've been crawling some pretty intense rocks, and of course these tires, absolutely no problem with traction. It's been pretty dry, so I'm not dealing with any mud really or anything like that, but not too bad placing things. It's tough to say if the isometric seats are keeping us from wobbling around too much. You have to think they're having some sort of effect. But speaking of airing down, that is yet another plus for the Trailhunter over the TRD Pro, is the fact you get that built-in compressor in the back of the truck that you can go to the trail, air down, and then air right back up without carrying any sort of accessories with you. If you're going to air down here in the TRD Pro, then you better have some sort of compressor, or maybe be at some sort of off-road area that provides air.
Is one more or less dampened? What's the... I think it's
3 is the tightest.
3's the tightest?
That's what I heard.
I thought it was the other way around. So that's more... She said we were...
I think 3 was the squish.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think that's what Kurt said last night, was 3 was the squish.
Can we put them all on 3 then?
Yeah.
There's no adjustability on the OMEs.
It's fine print though. I need my bifocals, or I'm getting old or something.
Well, once you know where to set it to, can you just reach and do it without looking?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so what are the settings? What do they mean?
So you got on-road, which is firm, and then this kind of stuff is going to be medium, and that's most of what you're going to use off-road is going to be that second setting, and the third setting is really like Baja, 0G, kind of jumping the truck kind of stuff. Yeah.
And then this is the rear.
That is a rear.
All right, we're on 3.
So
Squishy.
you better set it before you leave your house, unless you want to be crawling in the dirt.
What is that?
After a few days of pushing both of these trucks pretty hard, the TRD Pro has been redeemed a bit in my eyes. However, I don't agree with the packaging. I don't like the shocks that you have to crawl away under there and make your adjustments for. I don't like the seats back here, the back of them taking up so much space. And for me, I would just purely be using more of the Trailhunter options. Now, I totally understand that there are people that go do high-speed desert type running in their trucks, and then that's what the TRD Pro is for. It's going to do that higher speed stuff really, really well. That being said, the powertrain from Ford is more exciting in the Raptor, in the Ranger Raptor. There's just no getting around that. This powertrain is nice, it's stout, it's powerful, it's very smooth, and it's fantastic for off-road. However, if I were going for a higher speed sort of truck, I'd probably look at one of the other brands. Whereas, if I were going for more of an adventuring, overlanding, lifestyle sort of truck, here I am, right here. I would be with Toyota, I'd be going with the Trailhunter. So I'm really happy that they made that one and that they made a lot of the decisions with it. I think I would hope that they make that snorkel an option for 2025 model year. I think if Toyota makes these isodynamic seats optional for 2025 and they make the snorkel optional for 2025 in the Trailhunter, those will be two really smart decisions for next year. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that footage and got to see the trucks doing some real world sort of stuff here. And of course we'll have more coverage of the Tacoma in all various different forms with the link below. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.